Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into how data analytics is completely flipping the script on performance management. We're talking about moving away from that dusty once-a-year review and into a world of continuous improvement and real measurable results. Let's get into it. So, let's just start with a question that I think we all know the answer to. You know that feeling, right? Sitting down for that annual review, trying to remember what on earth you accomplished 10 months ago. It's so often subjective, it's always looking backward, and let's be honest, it's kind of broken. So what's the alternative? Well, if you want to build a better system, you have to start with a solid foundation. And that foundation, it's all about one thing: absolute clarity. It's about making sure every single person knows exactly how their day-to-day work connects to the company's biggest, most important goals. To get that kind of clarity, a lot of companies are now turning to this framework called OKRs. And no, this isn't just another piece of corporate jargon. It's a really powerful way to set those big, ambitious objectives, and then, and this is the key part, define exactly how you're going to measure your progress. So how does it actually work? It's beautifully simple, really. First, you set a big, inspiring objective. Something like launch the best mobile app in our industry. Then you define a handful of measurable key results that prove you got there. Things like achieve a 4.8-star App Store rating or cut the crash rate in half. And then you track that progress all the time, not just once a year. Okay, so we've set these clear goals. Now what? How do we actually measure progress in this new world? Well, it's going to require a whole new set of tools, ones that go way beyond that one single annual meeting. And this slide just perfectly captures that massive shift. On one side, you've got the old way, once a year based on what your manager can remember. And on the other, you have the new way. It's continuous, it's forward-looking, and it's all rooted in actual data. It's a huge change from just judging the past to actively building a better future. So what's actually in this new toolkit? Well, think about platforms for giving and getting feedback all the time, tools for recognizing great work the moment it happens, quick little pulse surveys to constantly check in on how the team is feeling, and of course, 360-degree reviews, which pull in feedback not just from your boss, but from your peers and direct reports too. It's all about getting more data, more often, from more places. Now, with all this new data flowing in, how do we make sure things are actually fair? That is where a process called calibration comes in. It's basically where managers get together and discuss their team's ratings to make sure a high performer in one department means the same thing as a high performer in another. I love this quote. It really is like making sure all the judges are scoring from the same rulebook. And this laser focus on fairness leads us to one of the most powerful things performance analytics can do: help us build a more equitable workplace by actively spotting and rooting out bias. You see, the big challenge with purely subjective systems is that they can be really inconsistent. Without data to ground everything, it's just too easy for different standards to pop up across different teams. And that can unfairly impact who gets promoted, who gets a raise, and who gets the best opportunities. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because data can make these potential problems impossible to ignore. Just take a look at this chart. The average manager rating in marketing is way lower than in engineering or sales. Now, does that mean marketing managers are just tougher graders? Maybe, but it's a huge red flag. It forces you to ask the right questions. Are expectations unclear? Do these managers need more training? Data lets you stop guessing and start fixing the real problem. So far, we've mostly talked about measuring current performance in a fair way. But what if we could actually look into the future? That's exactly the promise of something called predictive modeling. And the potential here is absolutely huge. Some studies suggest that using these predictive models can make companies over 40% more accurate when they're trying to identify their future leaders. I mean, a 40% bump, that's a massive, game-changing advantage. So what is it exactly? Well, predictive modeling basically takes all that data we've been collecting on skills, on project outcomes, on engagement, and uses it to build a forecast. It helps answer questions like, hey, who on our team is most likely to kill it in a leadership role? Or what specific training does this person need to unlock their full potential? Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But what does it actually look like when a company puts it all together in practice? Let's take a look at a quick case study to see how these pieces fit. Our example is a mid-sized IT services firm. And like a lot of companies, they were really struggling with their old, traditional performance management system.
They were facing a perfect storm of problems. I mean, people were leaving in droves, engagement scores were in the tank, employees felt the whole promotion process was totally unfair, and nobody really got how their job connected to the big picture. The system just wasn't working at all.
So they completely redesigned their entire system using the exact principles we've been talking about. They brought in OKRs, they rolled out tools for continuous feedback, and they used analytics to make sure it was fair. And the results? They were just staggering. A 15% jump in retention, a 25% boost in engagement, and a massive 40% increase in people saying the system was actually fair. The data didn't just create reports, it created real positive change. And that really brings us to the end. It leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As these tools get better and more common, the big question is, what do you want to know? If you could predict just one thing about your team's future to help them grow and succeed, what would that one thing be? Thanks for watching.